The stars were quiet that night. It's quiet. On the edge of known space, a small alien outpost floated in silence. The station, called Orvas 9, belonged to the Killerin species. They were peaceful traders, known for their love of data and science. Orvas 9 was meant to be a research post. Nothing dangerous ever happened there until tonight. A young Killeran named Vex sat at the main console. He was bored, sipping a warm drink and staring at the blinking lights. It was a routine night. Nothing to report. No ships nearby. No strange signals. Just silence. Then the lights blinked red. 1 and 2. Then all of them. Vex leaned forward, confused. He tapped the console, thinking it was a system error. But the warning was real. Something large was entering the system fast, and without a transponder code. It wasn't showing up on the station's scanners the way a normal ship would. It was invisible. Vex sent a message to the surface team. No reply. He called again. Still silence. Then the lights in the control room flickered. The power dipped. It hiss. Drink spilled as the floor shook. He looked up at the camera feed from outside. Nothing. Just black space. And then, in the middle of that blackness, a single shadow moved. Slowly. Almost too slowly to notice. It had no lights, no sound. Just a shifting shape in the dark, like the space itself was alive. Unknown object detected. The computer finally said in a flat voice, "Approach velocity. Critical." Vex's heart pounded. He hit the emergency signal, sending a distress beacon across nearby systems. Orvas 9 is under attack. Unknown entity approaching. No identification. We need the feed cut off. All. Across the outpost, rooms went dark. Screens died. Doors stopped working. Then one by one, the station's crew vanished. Not killed, not taken, just erased. No screams, no struggle. 1 second they were there. The next dash, nothing. In a room filled with blinking lights. Camera recorded the last few seconds of Orvas 9. Vex stood alone, staring at the main screen. He wasn't moving. His mouth was open, like he wanted to scream, but no sound came. Behind him, the shadow appeared, tall, twisted, not fully formed. Like it was still shaping itself. Vex's body stiffened, and then gone. Only his headset remained. Still glowing with the open signal, that message traveled far, carried by satellites and old emergency relays. It took days, then weeks, but it reached the outer systems of the Galactic Council. The Council reviewed the signal in their Great Hall. Dozens of species sat together, watching the footage of the disappearing crew. They spoke in low voices. Some believed it was fake. Others said it was a test or a prank. But one voice in the chamber was quiet. A small, lizard-like creature from the Dralian Union simply stared at the screen, eyes wide with fear. "I've seen this before," he whispered. The others turned. "To look on my homeworld thousands of years ago, our ancestors spoke of a being that came from the stars. It did not kill. It unmade. They called it the Void Whisperer, a god of silence. We thought it was a myth." "You saying it's real?" a tall, bird-like delegate asked. "I don't know," the Dralian said. "But if it is, we're not ready." The council hesitated. They had no proof of who or what attacked Orvas 9. They didn't want to send ships into unknown space. Too risky, too far, strange. So they ignored the signal until 3 more stations vanished. No wreckage. No debris. Only the same quiet static and the last echo of a voice saying, "Help us." Panic began to grow. The smaller empires started forming defense lines. Some began evacuating border planets. But no one had answers. No one had hope. Then one signal came back. It was not from a council. World. It was not from an ally. It was from a blue planet at the edge of an old star map. Place many believed was silent. A place called Earth. The message was short. "We received your call. Help is coming, but not everyone you send comes back." There was no logo, no name, just a black screen and a sound behind the voice deep, like a growl, almost like breathing. The council froze. Humans were real, weren't they extinct? No, they were quiet, waiting, and now. They were coming, not with diplomats, not with fleets, but with something else, something far worse. Apex. Predators. The sky above the planet Gorik 3 was burning. Colonies on the surface screamed for help as something unseen attacked them. Defense turrets shot blindly into the clouds, but nothing hit. Ships launched into the sky, then vanished without a trace. No wreckage, no signal, just gone. Governor Tilvern stood on the command tower, his claws shaking. Gorak 3 was a mining world, rich in rare minerals. It had no military force. Only workers, machines, and old defense drones. They were not ready for this. Where are they attacking from? He shouted at his tech officer. There's nothing, sir. The officer cried. Scanners show clear skies, no ships, no life forms. But our colonies are being wiped out. Governor looked up. The clouds were still. Too still. Then just for a moment, the clouds above twisted. Like something massive moved through them without shape. Suddenly, a bright light tore through the sky. It wasn't an attack. It was a ship. Black, silent, sharp like a blade. It cut through the air without fire or sound. No symbols. No windows. Just pure darkness. The ship didn't come from the enemy. It came from Earth. The vessel landed outside. The last standing colony. It didn't send a signal. It didn't ask for permission. It just landed smooth, perfect, and quiet. The Council had sent no reply to Earth's message. But Earth didn't wait for permission. The ship's hatch opened. 6 figures stepped out. They were human, or at least, they looked human. Tall, armored, faces hidden behind black helmets with glowing red eyes. They moved like predators, slow, silent, controlled. Each step was calculated. Each movement, trained. They didn't speak. They didn't look around. They just started scanning the ground with strange devices. Governor Tilvarn rushed to greet them, unsure if they were friend or foe. He was escorted by guards, but even the guards looked nervous. Are you here to help us? The governor asked. The tallest figure turned. Its helmet hissed as it slid open, revealing the face of a human woman, calm, cold, with scars across her cheek and a deep stare that felt like it could see through skin and bone. I am Prime, she said. We received your distress call. Governor nodded quickly. Yes, yes, our people are dying. The enemy is invisible. We can't stop it. Prime looked to the sky. You won't have to, she said. The other 5 predators moved into the field like wolves. They dropped to the ground, studying tracks only they could see. Another stabbed a small needle into the soil. A third crouched, sniffing something that wasn't even there. They're tracking it. One of the guards whispered. Prime nodded. This enemy leaves no trace for your machines. But it still leaves scent, vibration, pattern. It is not invisible. 2 hunters. The governor swallowed hard. You're not normal soldiers, are you? We are not soldiers, Prime replied. We are the Apex unit. Each of us was bred, trained, and modified to survive the deadliest worlds in the galaxy. We do not follow standard war doctrine. What do you follow then? The governor asked. She looked at him, voice calm, instinct. Suddenly, one of the Apex members froze. Contact, he said in a low voice. He pointed to an open field. Nothing was there, and then, ground shook. A wave of darkness shimmered in the air like heat. Something massive began moving, still invisible, but the dust and wind around it swirled unnaturally. Lights flickered. The air became heavy. The guards opened fire blindly. Bullets flew into nothingness. No, Prime ordered. She stepped forward. From her belt, she pulled a long, sharp spear, made of a strange black metal. She closed her eyes, then ran fast. Too fast. A blur. She leapt into the air, her body twisting mid-jump. And through the spear it vanished into the invisible wall, a sound like metal hitting stone. And then a roar. Not a machine sound, a living sound. The invisible creature twisted. Part of it shimmered, revealing black limbs covered in claws and slime. It was Reland now. It was angry. The Apex members moved in perfect rhythm. It flanked it from the sides. One climbed a building and jumped on its back. Another planted explosive charges where it would step. They didn't speak, they moved like a pack. The battle was fast and brutal, and then it was over. The creature's corpse, now fully visible, lay on the ground. It was tall as a building. No bones, no eyes, just muscle, teeth, and darkness. The governor stared at it in shock. You killed it. Prime looked at the body. No, this is only a scout. There will be more. Governor trembled. Then what do we do? She looked toward the sky. You hide. You run. You survive. Let us hunt. The Apex ship flew fast through deep space. No lights. No signal. No trace. It moved like a ghost in the void, leaving behind the cursed station, the dead world, and the names on the wall. The crew said nothing. There were only 3 of them, now Prime. Ash and Ghost. They didn't rest. They didn't eat. They just watched the dark outside. Every second, I think they felt like something was following, not behind the ship. Inside, Ash sat in the weapon bay staring at her gear. Her claws were still stained. With black blood, her heartbeat was faster than normal. She didn't like that. Fear made the heart beat fast. Hunters were not supposed to feel fear. Ghost was in the server room, checking logs. He had erased his own voice patterns, just in case something was listening. But still, strange whispers filled. His helmet sometimes sounds not saved in the system, sounds that knew his name. Prime was in the command seat. She had locked the ship's course. Destination, Earth. But even she wasn't sure they would make it. Suddenly, a beep, a faint signal. The ship's AI spoke. Incoming distress beacon. Human signature. Short range. Prime's eyes narrowed. Play it. A voice came through, broken, filled with static. This is Apex Hunter Flint. Alive. I escaped. It let me go. Ash ran to the bridge. Flint. He was dying. Ghost. Followed. His pod never showed signs of movement. Prime said nothing. Then the voice returned louder this time. I'm in the medical bay. Please help me. The 3 stared at each other. The medical bay was just 10 meters away, but the ship had shown it as empty. Prime drew her sidearm. Lock armor, stay close. They moved as one unit, slow and careful. The hallway to the medbay was dark, flickering. Lights blinking in and out. Steam rose from the vents. Their footsteps were silent, their breath dash measured. When they reached the medbay door, it was already open. Inside, the pod was cracked open, and Flint stood beside it, alive, no wounds. No burns, no scars. He looked perfect. Too perfect. Ash stepped back. That's not possible. Flint smiled. It was not a warm smile. Why are you scared? He asked. You came to help me, didn't you? Prime raised her weapon. What's your last memory from Varnus 4? Flint tilted his head. I ran. I hit it, found me. Then he paused. I don't remember. Ghost scanned him. No heat signature. No heartbeat, Ash whispered. That's not Flint. Flint's face changed. Slowly, his mouth opened wider, too wide. His skin rippled, stretching like plastic. His eyes turned black. Then he said in a voice that was not his own, You were proud hunters. Now you are prey. The thing that looked. Like Flint lunged forward, mouth twisting, arms bending the wrong way. Prime fired first. Ghost followed. Ash charged. Claws out, the fake Flint screamed a high, unnatural sound as its body melted into black smoke and vanished into the floor. The room went still. No trace. No body. Just a dark spot on the floor. Like a shadow burned into metal. Prime looked at the others. It's not outside anymore. Ash understood. It's in the ship. Ghost spoke for the first time in hours. We're being studied. It could become one of us. Copy us.
Use our
voices. Our memories. Prime looked at the camera feed. In one hallway, she saw something that made her heart stop. The Apex unit.
all 7 of them alive, walking down the hall, but
They were all still on the bridge. Ash whispered, "It's making
Us see what it wants." Prime stared at the screen, or making others see what it wants them to believe. They were no longer hunters. They were trapped. Their own minds could not be trusted. Ash looked at Prime. "What now?" Prime's voice was cold. "We go to Earth. We release the prototype." Ghost's head turned. "That project was banned. It nearly broke the planet." Ash agreed. "They shut it down for a reason. It wasn't human anymore." Prime loaded her last round into her weapon. "Neither is the thing we're fighting." The Apex ship reached Earth in silence. It did not land at a city, a base, or a port. It went underground. Beneath the old mountains of Alaska, deep under frozen rock, was a hidden place. Even the Galactic Council didn't know it existed. The entrance opened only with Prime's genetic code. As the ship entered the tunnel, lights turned on one by one, dim, red, and cold. Ash looked out the window. "This place smells old." Ghost nodded. "It is. This is not a base. It's a tomb." Prime didn't speak. Her face was hard, eyes forward. They reached a massive door, black steel layered with symbols. On it, 2 words were written in ancient human language: Apex, P-O-T-O-C-O-A. Prime placed her hand on the panel. It scanned her blood, bones, and memories. The door unlocked. Inside, the temperature dropped. The air was thick. Even Ghost paused. Rows of empty capsules lined the walls. They had once held other Apex experiments creatures, too powerful, too unstable, all shut down, all erased. But one pod still glowed. In the center of the chamber, larger than the rest, a live Prime walked toward it. Ash frowned. "What is this place, really?" Prime finally spoke. "Before the Apex unit, Earth built something else. A weapon. A being. Designed not to follow orders, not to lead, just to hunt. No fear. No pain. No limit." Ghost looked at the pod. "Why? Was it locked away?" Prime's voice turned quiet. "Because it didn't care who the enemy was. Once it started, it never stopped." Ash's claws twitched. "You want to wake it up?" Prime stared at the pod. "I don't want to. I have to." She pressed the panel. The pod hissed. Steam filled the room. The thing inside moved. Ash stepped back. Even Ghost reached for his weapon. Then they saw it. A tall figure stepped out, not armored, not armed, barefoot, shirtless, its body covered in old scars and strange marks. Its skin looked pale, but its eyes burned like fire. It looked human, but it was not. It looked at Prime and smiled. "You finally remembered me," Ash whispered. "What is it?" Prime didn't blink. "It's called Zero." The first Apex Zero tilted his head. "What do you want me to kill?" Prime showed him the data images of the shadow creatures, the erased stations, the voices in their minds. Zero watched, then closed his eyes. "I know this thing," he said softly. "Long ago, before I was locked away, I saw it." "Made it was born?" Ash asked. "From where?" Zero opened his eyes. "From silence, from deep space. It has no shape. It copies, listens, it feeds on thought." "You don't kill it with guns?" Ghost asked. "Then how do you stop it?" Zero smiled. "You let me hunt it?" Above the surface, Earth's highest leaders watched the feed from the underground chamber. They were afraid. The president turned to the defense chief. "Can we control it this time?" The chief answered with a shaking voice. "We never could." Back underground, Prime handed Zero a black box. "This is the location of its core." Zero nodded. "It hides inside minds. Every creature has a heart, even monsters." Ash looked at him. "Why did they call you Zero?" He gave a strange smile. "Because after me. No one wanted another." The Apex unit prepared to leave Earth. Their ship was upgraded, rearmed, and cleaned. But even with new gear, they felt the weight of something bigger. They were not the same team anymore. They had lost more than soldiers. They had lost safety, even memory. Prime sat alone in her chamber. Sharpening her blade, Zero stood at the door. "You're different," he said. She looked up. "I have to be." He nodded. "You'll need to be," she asked him. "Why did it let you live before?" Zero looked at the stars through the glass. "Because last time, I ran." He turned to her, eyes cold. "This time, I'm not running." Far across the galaxy, in the dark space where no stars shine, the enemy waited. It had no face, no shape, but now it had a target. A voice echoed across dimensions. "You woke the first. You called the hunter. Now, let's see who survives." Night fell on the forest moon called Varnaeus-4. The trees were tall and twisted, older than most species in the galaxy. Wind howled through the leaves like whispers. The colony outpost built deep in the forest had not responded in 2 days.
Out.
Signals, no reports. No survivors. The Galactic Council marked it as lost, but the Apex unit did not believe in lost. They arrived silently, landing in a small clearing without lights or noise. Prime stepped out first, her eyes scanning the shadows between the trees. The others followed 6 hunters, moving like shadows themselves. No talking, no hesitation, only. The hunt, they split into pairs. Prime and Ghost moved north. Ghost was the quietest, never spoke, never missed a target. His helmet had no mouthplate, only sensors. His heartbeat was so slow, most scanners couldn't detect him at all. In the west, Feral and Stray moved fast, low to the ground. They didn't walk, they stalked. Twin blades in hand, eyes always moving. South side, Ash and Flint, the heavy hitters. Flint carried a plasma cannon the size of a child. Ash had claws instead of fingers, grown, not built. Her DNA was part human, part predator cat. From Earth's deep jungles, she could smell fear from 2 kilometers away. They were not just soldiers, they were hunters. As they moved through the forest, signs began to appear. A shredded metal drone, deep claw marks on tree trunks, strange black ooze, stick and steaming dripping onto the moss. But no bodies, not one. Then Prime's voice came through. "There comes," soft and cold. "Stop, stop." Everyone froze. She crouched and placed a small disc on the ground. It began spinning, scanning the area. The results made her frown. "There's a heat signature," she said, "but it's wrong." The heat was coming from underground. Suddenly a scream tore through the forest. Not human, high-pitched, alien. From the west. Feral's voice crackled through the cums. "Contact." Then dash static. Prime sprinted, moving fast through the trees. Ghost followed. When they reached the spot, they found Feral leaning against a tree, bleeding from a cut across his chest. His armor had deep scratches. Stray was gone. "What happened?" Prime asked. Feral pointed. "It wasn't one. There were 2. Maybe more." Stray chased it, but it disappeared. It's vanished right in front of him. Ghost scanned the area. Still no visual. "But I feel something watching." Prime nodded. "They're adapting. Learning our patterns." Feral growled. "That makes it interesting." They regrouped. Ash and Flint returned with a blood sample from something they'd caught, but it melted as soon as it was removed from the forest. Whatever these creatures were, they didn't belong to this reality. They flickered, broke physics, and fed on fear. Prime studied the data. "This is not a random attack," she said. "They're pulling us deeper." "Why?" Ash asked. Prime looked into the dark trees. "Because we're prey now." They set traps, mines, motion sensors, sonic spikes. But the creatures avoided them. Every time the Apex team moved, the enemy moved first. Fast. Smart. Testing them. Then, one trap worked. A loud boom echoed through the forest. Flint and Ash ran toward it. They found one of the creature's half-dead, black, slimy skin. No face, still twitching. As Flint raised his cannon to finish it, the creature suddenly stopped moving, frozen, silent. Then it exploded. The blast knocked Flint off his feet. Ash flew back, armor cracked. Creature had sacrificed itself a trap in return. Prime clenched her fists. They're watching, learning. Night passed slowly. No one slept. The forest grew darker. Their lights barely reached a few meters now. The air got colder. Time felt slower. Like something was pulling reality apart. Then, finally, they struck. 5 creatures attacked the camp at once. 2 went after Ash and Flint. 1 leapt at Ghost. 1 tried to pull Feral into the trees. The last one went for Prime. It moved fast. Faster than anything they had seen. Prime didn't dodge. She stepped into the attack at the last second. She ducked, twisted, and drove a blade under its jaw. The creature screamed a horrible broken sound. And then it whispered, not in words, but in her mind. A cold voice. "We see you, Hunter." Prime's eyes widened. She pulled back, stabbing again. The creature died, but something had changed. The hunt had begun, but it was not just them hunting. The enemy was hunting them too. The Apex unit returned to their ship in silence. They had lost 2 members. Stray was gone, taken during the hunt. No body, no tracker, just gone like he had never existed. Flint was dying. The explosion had damaged his lungs. He now lay in a sealed medical pod, breathing slowly. His eyes were open, but he couldn't speak. Prime stood in the dark corner of the ship's medbay, her eyes locked on the pod. She didn't blink. She didn't cry. Hunters don't cry. Ash walked in, her armor cracked and stained with dried black. Fluid from the enemy. "We need to pull back," she said. "They're not animals. They're something else." Prime spoke quietly. "They're not just predators. They are." Silence given shape. Ghost said nothing. He simply placed a data core on the table and walked out. It held the last recordings from Stray's suit. Prime connected the core to the ship's main screen, static, then images, flickering trees. Strange sounds. Stray's voice breathing heavy, moving fast, chasing something. "Visual contact," he had said. "Target is shifting form. No eyes, no mouth. Still communicating. I think it's inside my head." The video shook. Stray screamed, and then the feed stopped. His last word was one whisper. Run. Ash stepped back. They got into his mind. Prime nodded. Yes, and now they might be in ours. For the first time, the Apex unit felt something they were not trained for. Doubt they took off from Varnus 4 and flew toward the nearest deep space relay station, an old abandoned research facility in orbit around a dead planet. The Council had stopped using it decades ago. But the Apex unit needed a place to regroup. As the ship docked, the lights on the station flickered to life. No crew, no signals, just cold, empty halls. Ghost scanned the systems. No life signs. No power logs. But the doors were unlocked. Ash looked around. So, who opened them? They moved through the station carefully. Guns ready. Senses sharp. In the control room, Apex unit found something strange. A wall of names. Thousands of names written by hand, in black ink, each crossed out with a single red line. The last name was Stray. Ash stepped back. How is that possible? No one knew we were coming here. Prime walked closer. She touched the wall. The ink was fresh, still wet. Then the power went out. Darkness, total silence. Only the sound of slow breathing, then a whisper. Soft like wind in the back of their minds. Why do you hunt what you cannot kill? Ghost activated his helmet lights. They were alone. But they didn't feel alone, Ash whispered. I think it's here. Camera feed turned on by itself. The screen showed the docking bay. Someone was standing there, a figure in Apex armor. But wasn't any of them. They rushed back to the bay. Nothing, no. Figure just an empty hallway? Then Ash stopped. Where's Feral? She asked. Prime turned. Feral was gone. They searched the station for hours. No trace, no sound. His cum was dead. His signal lost, just like Stray. Only his weapon was left behind, still warm. The Apex unit was now 3. Prime, Ghost, Ash, the enemy. Had not fought them directly, it was doing something else. Breaking them. One piece at a time. They returned to the ship. Prime stared at the screens. Every sensor now showed nothing. Not even the station they were docked to. It was like the galaxy itself had erased this place. Ghost stepped close. He held up a small scanner. I ran a test, he said quietly. Something is wrong with our memories? Ash looked at him. What do you mean? Ghost turned his helmet screen toward them. There were 7 of us. Ash frowned. No, 6. Prime, me, you, Stray, Flint, Feral. Ghost shook his head. No, there was another. One more. We forgot him. He played an audio file, a voice. They didn't recognize, said, "This is Apex Hunter Delta Watch, you're left flanking now." Ash's face went pale. I don't remember him. Prime closed her eyes. It's not just killing us, she said. It's removing us from reality. Ghost looked at her. And how do we fight something like that? She opened her eyes. We don't, not here, not like this. Ash stepped forward. Then what do we do? Prime stared out the window into the dark stars. We go back to Earth. We activate Apex Protocol Omega. Ash blinked. That was shut down. Even Earth feared it. Prime's voice was flat. Now we fear something more. The Apex ship exited Earth's orbit like a silent missile inside. The team prepared for war, against a fleet, not against an empire, but against something older, something that watched from shadows, something that remembered humanity. Zero stood at the center of the war room. He didn't wear armor, didn't carry a weapon. He was the weapon. Ash loaded his gear. You sure you don't need a gun? Zero didn't smile. If I need one, I'm already dead. Ghost checked the scanners. No transmissions, no beacons. It's too quiet, Prime replied. That's how it begins. It waits until you forget it exists. Then it strikes. The coordinates led to an empty system. No sun, no planets. Just a black hole, Ash muttered. There's nothing here. Zero stepped forward. Look again. The ship's sensors adjusted. Suddenly, they saw it. Not a ship, not a station. A crack in space, like a tear moving. The same readings they saw at the destroyed colony, only bigger. Ghost's voice dropped. It's the core. The crack opened wider. And then everything went dark. The lights flickered. The ship's systems failed, and voices began whispering again. But this time, louder. You should have stayed forgotten. You woke the nightmare. Now burn. Ash screamed and fired at nothing. Ghost dropped to his knees, blood coming from his nose. Only Prime and Zero stood still. Zero closed his eyes, then opened them, and spoke. Let me go alone, Prime. Shook her head. No. Zero looked at her calmly. This thing lives inside thought. It copies fear. It mimics pain. If you all come, it'll use your memories against you. Prime hesitated. Zero continued. You brought me back for one reason. This is it. Let me finish what I ran from. Ash wiped his face, trembling. If you die, Zero smirked. Then you run. Stepped into the airlock. No suit, no tether. He leaped into the crack in space and vanished. Inside the rift, there was no up, no down, no time, only memories. Zero floated in silence. Then it came. The thing, no form. Just shifting shapes, faces of people he had killed, places he had burned. It spoke in the voice of his mother, his brother, his old commander. You are a weapon, nothing more. You kill because it's all you know. Even your own people feared you. Zero's mind burned, but he didn't flinch. He whispered, that's true. The thing paused. Zero continued. They feared me. They locked me away. They erased me. His eyes glowed brighter, but they called me back. He reached into his chest and pulled something out, a small, blinking core. The last gift from Prime, a memory bomb, made not of fire, but truth. Zero smiled. Here's what you forgot. He threw it. It exploded inside the rift knot with light, but with clarity. The monster screamed. It twisted, shifted. Its form cracked. It wasn't ready for truth. It wasn't built to survive. Honesty Zero pushed forward. Step by step, through the broken space, he reached the heart. A single black sphere, beating like a heart. He placed his hand on it and whispered, "You copied human thought. But you never understood it." He leaned in. "We may break, but we don't stay broken." Then he crushed the heart and vanished. On the ship, alarms went silent. The rift closed. The lights returned. Prime fell to her knees. Ash whispered, "What happened?" Ghost checked the systems. "It's gone." Ash looked at Prime and Zero. She stared at the empty screen, then stood. He ended it. They turned the ship around and began the journey home. Back on Earth, the stars looked the same, but everything had changed. The Apex unit returned fewer in number, scarred in soul. But victorious Prime stood before the Global Council. They asked her one question. "How did you win?" She gave a simple answer. "We didn't fight harder. We remembered who we were." In the deep labs of Earth, second vault opened. Inside was another pod, empty. But on the screen was a message. "If he ever returns, so will I." It was signed, Zero, and, across the farthest reaches of space, a single black spark drifted, waiting, watching, and whispering, "Extinction is patient." End of story.